Is this thing on? It is. All right, I'm DaRock. Welcome back to the channel. Once again, some more college basketball talk. And a week from today, when you're listening to this, there will be a bracket out. It is so close to March Madness. I mean, we've already had it really start with conference tournaments. Starting up last week, full go this week, all conference tournaments, regular season's all done. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is going to be talking through some of these conference title games, see who has bids locked up already, as well as then give my takes on some of these final regular season games that happened over the weekend, and then wrapping up the show with some more conference title picks for tonight. So if you're into college basketball, whether you've been here all year or just now here in March, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're on Spotify, make sure to listen to the show, follow the show and rate 5 stars, and let's get into it. So we're going to start here going over the 5 conference title games, the 5 bids we have already clinched the NCAA tournament. First, we have here Tennessee State wins the OVC 93-67 over Moorhead on Saturday night. The Tigers just absolutely dominated this game. It was never even close. They never trailed. They put up 55 points in the first half. They're led by 18 from Antoine Lorick III, as well as 17 from Travis Harper and Aaron Numkra and Dante Harris as starters in double figures, as well as Karis Williams comes off the bench, scores 16. So this was a game where just Tennessee State just dominated. They're the better team. They shot 49% from field, 62% from three. We're just the better team. Looking here at Bracket Matrix, it has Tennessee State as a 16 seed. So probably a team that we're just going to see, playing a 1 seed, probably not go far in the dance, but they really just kind of dominated the OVC this year, so shout out to them for getting the bid there. Then a fun one here in the Missouri Valley. Probably not the matchup people saw coming into it. The 5 seed UIC Flames taking on the 6 seed Northern Iowa Panthers, and Northern Iowa goes and gets the win 84-69. They're back in the tournament for the first time since I want to say 2019 or something like that. It's been a little bit, and I figured this tournament was going to be madness. I did think Northern Iowa was going to be in the title game, but I thought, Belmont, who'd been the class of that league all year, was probably going to be the ones getting the auto bid, but Drake took down Belmont on Friday afternoon, then UIC took down Drake, but then they just fell short against Northern Iowa. UIC had also been playing some good basketball as of late. They were led by 28 from Elijah Crawford, but he kind of was their whole team. They had a couple other guys, in double figures there, but no one as dominant as Trey Campbell for Northern Iowa, who scores 23, plus then you add in 10 from Leon Bond and Will Hornaceth, as well as 18 from Ben Schweiger off the bench. He's been red hot as of late, just goes 3 of 4 from beyond the arc as well in that one. So nice win there for Northern Iowa. On Bracket Matrix, it has them currently at a 13 seed, so we'll see, kind of based off conference tournament results, how that holds. And honestly, this Northern Iowa team, how well they've been playing as of lately, and like I said, having guys like Schweiger and Campbell that can both just shoot the lights out, they combined for 9 threes between the two of them. Northern Iowa is a team that I think is very capable of pulling off an upset. So if they get the right matchup against a 4 seed that's, been struggling, which I feel like a lot of the, these 3, 4, 5 seed, 6 seeds are going to be kind of vulnerable. I like Northern Iowa. Maybe we see them in this, at least in the second round, but maybe even in the second weekend. I think they're a team capable of going on a run. Another team that I think is capable of going on a run here in the Big South, High Point wins the league once again, 91-76 over Winthrop. These two teams are the top of the league all year. Figured they'd be meeting in the final, and correctly picked High Point to get the win there by even more than I really thought. I thought this was going to be a competitive game. Really wasn't. High Point ran away with it. Rob Martin is the player to watch for the Panthers there. He scored 24 points in this one. He's another one of those guards that I think in March really could take over a game. Terry Anderson, his sidekick there, goes for 18 points, and then Owen Aquino with 11. Cameron Fletcher goes for 17 off the bench as well, and Chase Johnson with 11 off the bench. In double figures. So a lot of different guys that are getting it done for High Point. On the Winthrop side, 22 from Kadeem Rozier. But this is a game, like I said, High Point was just the better team. Really just kind of ran away with this game. Winthrop made it a game in the first half, but second half, High Point really got going and never really looked back. So the Panthers right now are projected to be the last 12 seed, so similar there to like Northern Iowa, like last 12, early 13. So I would say 12 or 13 you're looking at here for the Panthers, and they're another team. I do think just with how good Rob Martin is, they're a team I could see winning a game. They played Purdue really tight last year. They were, a popular upset pick. Weren't able to pull it off. This year I think they can. I think I'm going to be picking them in my bracket, so High Point definitely a team to watch out for. Then on Sunday, fourth fourth of 5 bids here clinched over the weekend. This one was a fun one. Queens, in their first year eligible for the NCAA tournament, wins the ASUN 98-93 over Central Arkansas in overtime behind 34 points from Chris Ashby. Jordan Watford scored 19 off the bench as well. And this was a game, Queens had it locked up, but we had some pretty chaotic games here in this ASUN tournament championship. Or no, I'm thinking back to the Big South, but we've had some big ones here in the ASUN as well, where Central Arkansas comes from behind late, ties the game, but then just kind of runs out of gas. Queens ends up making the tournament here in their first year. Like I said, Ashby, their leader there. Other guys to shout out. I guess I got to shout out on the Central Arkansas side. Cameron Hunter went for 49, and then had Ty Robinson with 16 and Javon Guy King with 10 as well. Central Arkansas was my pick to win this league, but ends up being Queens. So the Royals here, let me look. I want to say they're projected right now to be a 15 seed. So probably not a team that, like I said, you're going to see going super far, but to be able to make the NCAA tournament your first year eligible, really impressive feat there. So shout out Queens for that. And then the final bid we had clinched already in the Summit over the weekend. The North Dakota State Bison wins 70-62 over their in-state rival, the North Dakota Fighting Hawks, to win the Summit League title behind 19 points from Damari Wheeler-Thomas, as well as Andy Stefanovitz goes for 11, and then Tay Smith with 13 off the bench. On the North Dakota side, 24 from Grayson Ullman and 19 from Zach Kraft, but just as a team, didn't shoot well enough. They only shot 36% from the field, 31% from 3, to North Dakota State's 45% from the field, 43% from 3. In a game that the Bison really just kind of dominated here. Like I said, it was a close game in the first half, but similar story once again to some of these other games where the second half, the better team really just pulled away. So North Dakota State was the 1 seed all year. I had them losing this to St. Thomas in the final, but North Dakota was able to knock off St. Thomas to get to the championship game here, and then North Dakota State gets the win. So shout out the Bison. They're looking here at the projections. They're going to be around a 14 seed. If I had to pick a 14 seed I like right now, and we'll get to them later, Troy's probably the one I like more than North Dakota State, but who knows? The Bison maybe could pull off an upset. I probably won't be picking it, but shout out them for making the tournament. So let's move on here to some regular season finales that we had over the weekend. First, we got to start in Durham. The Duke Blue Devils, number 1 team in the country, take down UNC 76-61 behind 26 points and 15 boards from Cam Boozer. He once again just dominates this game. His best player on the floor with no Caleb Wilson in this one. UNC was trying to rush him back. He ends up suffering an injury, breaks his hand. He's now going to be out for the year. Very severely hurts the Tar Heels' chances to really do much in March. And, they just really didn't have an answer in this game. Granted, North Carolina stuck around in the first half. They led at points. It was a nervous game. It was one where I was like, oh boy, here we go again. Plus then, in this one, Caleb Foster suffers an injury in the first half, only plays 11 minutes. He's probably looking like he's going to be potentially out for the year. Patton Ngangba doesn't play in this one. He's, probably out through at least the ACC tournament. So some pretty notable injuries here for Duke that might kind of impact their ceiling a little bit here, especially, guys like Caden Boozer are really going to have to step up. You see there, he ends up playing the rest of the game, 29 minutes, scores 7 points with 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He's going to have to now be the primary ball handler for this Duke team here the rest of the way. Other guys shout out, Malik Brown scores 15 in this one as well, 10 rebounds. So really nice game from him. Dame Sarr with 10. Granted, not the greatest shooting night. However, behind the arc does go 2 of 5. And then Isaiah Evans with 11. So it's going to be, like I said, it's really going to be on the Boozer twins now, where Caden Boozer is going to have to be the primary ball handler. And then, Cam might even have to play some point forward here. So we'll kind of see how that goes, but nice win there for the Blue Devils. On the UNC side, Derek Dixon, leader with 17. Vasar had 11 and 9, as well as Jaron Stevenson with 10 and 9. Luka Bogovac, only 6. He was a guy that I thought was going to be a key to this game. He just did not play well. Same thing, Seth Trimble, only 10 points, didn't have that breakout game. And that's what it was Duke just went on this massive run in the second half. I want to say it was like 27-2. It was something crazy where that's when they really just pulled away with this game. It went from being a very close game, one that it looked like Carolina was very possibly going to pull off the upset. So yeah, you see here, the score was 47-44. I want to say by the next time Carolina scores, it's 65-46. Like it was just an insane run. Got all the way up to 70-46, 71-46. So Duke just ends up really running away with this game, and nice win for them there. Team though that did get upset, and this is a big one seeding wise that we'll move to next year. The 4th-ranked UConn Huskies fall 68-62 to the Marquette Golden Eagles, a team that is the bottom of the Big East here. Marquette is 12-19 now to finish out the regular season, and UConn lost them. That's just inexcusable here from the Huskies. In this game, Marquette was led by 19 from Nigel James Jr. and took 19 shots. It wasn't the most efficient game for him, but then Royce Parnham, Adrian Stevensons, and Chase Ross also were all in double figures with 14, 13, 11 respectively. And Marquette just shoots better from the floor. They shoot 48% from the floor in this game to UConn's 36%. UConn only shot 13% from the three. 3 of 24 from beyond the arc. Just an absolute ice-cold shooting night for the Huskies. And then you have, the whole Dan Hurley gets ejected late, potentially bumps the official. They realize it's been ruled he didn't. I don't know. But yeah, it really just kind of throws a temper tantrum. His team ends up losing now the Big East title. They're gonna be the 2 seed anyways, but they don't even get a share of the Big East this year. And in all honesty, this probably knocks them off that one line, which we'll get to here in a second. But just really disappointing effort from UConn. Silas Demery was 17 points, and then Terrace Reed had 16. Caravan, only 2 points in this game on 0 of 6 shooting. 0 of 5 from beyond the arc. That's just not acceptable. That's they have a game like this, UConn can get bounced early. This just, I guess I'm hoping for their sake, for UConn fans' sake, that this is a game they just kind of, they got this absolutely clunker of a game out of their system. Like I said, Marquette has been playing better. They're absolutely abysmal to start the year, but the fact that, they just end up kind of not running away with it, but they don't trail after the 14-minute mark in the second half. That just can't happen. Like I said, UConn just cannot shoot that poorly if they're going to win many games. So shout out Marquette for the win there. And yeah, really tough scenes for UConn, because then Florida, they end up rolling 84-77 against against Kentucky. They had already clinched the SEC outright. They're now probably looking prime for this number 1 seed. Granted, it's not over yet by any means, and UConn still does have that head-to-head over Florida, so we'll see how much the committee takes that into account. But Thomas Haw goes for 20 points in this one, as well as 9 rebounds. Just absolutely dominant effort from him. Boogie Fland with 16 and 6 assists. Xavier Lee, 11 points, but on 11 shots, so not great there. Roman Chinulu with 13 and 8, and then Condon with 14 and 5. So all 5 Gator starters in double figures there. It's really how deep they are. That whole starting 5, when they play like this, so dominant. I mean, they're probably one of the hottest teams here in college basketball, if not the hottest. I think there's definitely an argument there. Kentucky, they have Otega Oweh go for 28 points, and then Dendell Aberdeen with 15. But other than that, really just no one else stepped up. And that's kind of what I saw, was I just didn't think Kentucky was going to have the front court answer for Florida in this game. The Gators really just end up dominating this one. I'm not surprised at all by that. Diabate also was in double figures with 10. Florida was up 17 at the half. They never trail in this game. They out-rebound. They take care of the ball. They lead the entire game. They shoot better from 3, shoot better from the field. This was just, Florida's the better team. I'm not super high on Kentucky. I think they maybe win one tournament game at this point. I don't see them winning much more than that, because now they're probably looking at a 7 or 8 seed, where they're going to be against a pretty good team here in the second round, unless maybe they draw Purdue or something. I just don't really see how Kentucky wins there. So nice win for Florida, and like I said, probably looking at number 1 seed now. We'll go to another team that's going to be number 1 seed, the Michigan Wolverines, 3rd-ranked team in the country, 90-80 win over Michigan State. They end up sweeping the season series against the Spartans. We'll see if maybe we get one more meeting between these teams in the Big Ten Championship. That's kind of my prediction. I'll get more into my power conference predictions here on Tuesday's show. So just kind of going over some quick games here. Yaxel Lendenberg, huge game this one, 27 points with 3 rebounds, 3 assists, as well as makes 5 threes. He was scoring from inside and out in this game. Plus Morez Johnson with 18 and 7. Ade Mara, not a great game, and that's where we can kind of get into it. He got attacked, but then Jeremy Fears also, once again, goes for 22 points, has a good game. He's doing his Grayson Allen stuff where he's kicking up, and I just don't know why he's doing this. And it's maybe it's the Michigan game, but it's dude, just play basketball at this point. Time Izzo was asked about it after the game, was try like I said, try to deflect it to Ade Mara. Like you said, you're going to see kind of some chippiness in a rivalry game, but it is just frustrating. I feel like if you're a Michigan State fan, that there's just kind of continuing to be this stuff from Fears. It's just one of those things you need to get under control. If I'm going to have confidence in them going deep in March. There was some talk heading into the weekend of Michigan State potentially, could they be the last number 1 seed? They maybe could go on a run, sneak into that argument a little bit. And I think that's probably just out the window with this result. Especially considering, Florida's looking pretty primed for it now. It probably would have taken a Florida loss to combine with that UConn loss for Michigan State to really have a chance. But game here, like I said, we knew this coming in. Michigan really just ends up proving it. It's a 10-point game, the final score. Michigan State stuck around the first half, but I feel like so many of the games we saw this weekend, the second half better team really just kind of took over. I'm looking here at other stats, anything really noticeable standing out. I guess Michigan scores, more points off turnovers, even though they did turn the ball over more. Yeah, really a lot of these stats was pretty similar, but Michigan slightly better shooting team, 49% from the field. Michigan State's 45%, and then definitely better three-point shooting team, hitting 45% with 10 threes to 33%. Michigan State only hitting 6 threes. So ends up kind of being the difference in this one. So nice win there for the Wolverines here. Then we'll go to another Big Ten game, another one that was pretty fun. Nebraska, they close out the regular season getting a win over their rivals Iowa, 84-75 in overtime with 15 points from Price Sanford and Sam Hoiberg each in this one, leading the way, as well as Rienk Mast goes for 14 points. And 15 from Cale Jacobson as well off the bench. Really fun moment there, senior day here, seeing Sam Hoiberg with his dad, Fred. So for Nebraska to still end up, getting the win after that pretty emotional moment there, something cool to see. On the Iowa side, not the greatest game from Sturtz, only 11 points, shooting 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 7 from beyond the arc. 18 from both Caleb Combs and Cooper Koch were the leaders for the Hawkeyes in this one, as well as 12 from Tavion Banks off the bench. Nebraska, I don't know why I keep saying Michigan. Nebraska shoots better from the field, shooting 50% to Iowa's 48%. Both these two teams shoot 37% from three. It really was a competitive game, like I said. To go to overtime here, it's fun watching these two teams go at it. I feel like, it's a good match there. Really only one lead change in this one. Like Nebraska led the whole way. It's just Iowa, tied it, forced the extra session late, but then Nebraska ends up pulling it out there. I'm looking here at the other stats. Nothing else really super notable. Nebraska slightly more points in the paint, 34-30. Both these teams, like I said, played pretty, half-court styles. So 8-5 and fast break points, not a whole lot there. And then, Iowa actually had more points off turnovers. But nice win there for Nebraska. It was a close game. They end up getting the win. Move on here, just kind of quickly go through some other results over the weekend. And I don't know, maybe I'll dive a little bit deeper into these than I usually would. St. John's, they beat Seton Hall 72-65 on Friday night. Zuby Ejiofor with 21 points, had a really big game in that one. Maybe took him a little bit to get going, but once he got going, he took that one over. So St. John's, like I said, they clinched a share of the Big East with that win on Friday night and the one seed in the Big East tournament. But then with UConn losing on Saturday, they ended up winning it outright. And then Miami, Ohio, 19th ranked team in the country. It took the extra session once again, but they beat their rivals, Ohio, 110-108. But Ian Elmer, their leader, with 32 points. It was a game that Ohio, once again, really looked like they were going to take it. The second half, they kind of looked like the better team. 17 lead changes in this one. It was going back and forth, but Miami ends up just getting a couple more clutch shots. Ohio had plenty of clutch shots of their own, but a couple more clutch shots in this one. So, Brant Byers with 15, Peter Suter with 13 as well, and then Trey Perry with 21 off the bench. On the Ohio side, Jackson Pavelski went for 37 points in this one, and Javon Simmons had 30 as well. So really high-scoring game. Like I said, it was just a lot of fun to watch. It was really back and forth. Like I said, it was a rivalry game. Granted, do I maybe love the way Miami celebrated? Kind of ended up going more at the crowd than like celebrating with each other after getting the win, especially with such a historic game. No. I would have rather, they kind of celebrated with their team a little bit more. But like I said, it's a rivalry game. It's college kids. I understand it. It was a very emotional game. Like I said, it really looked like Ohio was going to pull it off, and the undefeated streak there for the Red Hawks, which then, was going to make things kind of dicey. I say now Miami has to be, and I don't know how you can leave a team that finishes the regular season undefeated, but I've talked about that ad nauseum on this show. You guys probably don't want to hear that anymore. So I think they should be in, but I guess, until, like they said, they either win the MAC title or they are, I see their name in the field, I'm not gonna feel safe about this. Hopefully going to be seeing them on Thursday against UMass in the first game there of the MAC tournament. Still kind of trying to figure out my travel a little bit this week, but hopefully going to make that work. So shout out Miami there. On Saturday, said final day of the regular season for a lot of these conferences, so a lot of top matchups. Arizona rolls over Colorado 89-79. Braden Burries goes for 31 in that one. BYU upsets Texas Tech 82-76. Rob Wright with a really big game goes for 27 points. Him and AJ were just kind of unstoppable there for the Cougars, and I predicted that on the preview show. So nice win there for BYU. Saw that one coming. Virginia wins a close one, 76-72 over their rival Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, just a lot of these games here, they seem to be close. They just couldn't get the shots they need to go over the hump, and they're a team where now they're probably going to end up outside the tournament. Ugonna Osawenyo, leader for Virginia with 16 points. Kansas rolls Kansas State 104-85. Darren Peterson goes for 27. Wisconsin wins at Purdue 97-93. John Blackwell with 25 points. Purdue once again suffers another home loss. Maybe it's kind of good that the Boilermakers are no longer going to be playing at Mackey Arena this year because, it just seems like everyone's kind of going in there and getting wins. Alabama beats Auburn 96-84. Aiden Holloway goes for 21 points. Hopefully, like I said, we don't see Auburn in the tournament. I feel like we won't, but they're drawing the SEC tournament. They're set up where maybe they go on a bit of a run, but hopefully we don't see it happen. Arkansas takes overtime. Like I said, thought that'd be a fun one, but they win 88-84 over Missouri with Malik Thomas going for 28 points. Louisville actually goes into Miami and beats the Hurricanes 92-89 with Ryan Connell going for 24 points in that one. Vandy gets revenge over Tennessee 86-82 with Tyler Tanner scoring 25. It looks like we're probably going to get a third game between these two teams here in the SEC tournament coming up this week. George Mason, like I said, had been playing some great ball, but they upset St. Louis 86-57 with Jahari Long going for 21 points. SLU still should be in the field, but things are maybe getting a little bit more dicey for the Billikens than they would like. If they get upset early, things, like I said, might get dicey. But they still should be a tournament team. But now, when it originally looked like they could be like a 6 seed, maybe they're now probably gonna be closer to that 8 or 9 line. Clemson wins over Georgia Tech 79-67 or 76 in a close one. Villanova beats Xavier 91-78. More just kind of conference tournament results, stuff like that. Oh, Utah State wins 94-90 over New Mexico to win the Mountain West with MJ Collins leading scorer, scoring 27 points in that one. Wichita State takes down FAU 88-70 with Dylan Batty, scoring 22 points. The Wheat Shockers are going to be the 2 seed here in the American, so hopefully see them in that title game. Ohio State takes down Indiana and was, now the Buckeyes for sure should be in with a 91-78 win. Bruce Thornton scores 25 points in that one. And then late night, nothing really else too notable. Like I said, just a lot of conference tournaments. Like I said, that Moorhead-Tennessee State game was probably the best game Saturday night. Moving on here to Sunday, like I said, the 2 Big Ten games. Illinois struggled a little bit with Maryland. They end up winning 78-72. Other than that, it was really just kind of conference tournaments at the mid-major ranks. Other than USF takes down Charlotte 83-60. They already clinched the American regular season title, but nice win there on their home floor to wrap it up. So moving on to conference tournaments starting today. I hadn't had a chance to make a graphic for this one quite yet, but the SWAC starts today. As I'm recording, Alabama State and Alcorn State's already going on, but here are my picks for that one. In that league, I'm going with Bethune-Cookman to take down Southern in the title. Southern's playing some really good ball here as of late, but Bethune-Cookman's been the best team in that league all season. Grambling's a team, they're playing today. I think they can maybe go on a bit of a run. Like I almost took them over Florida A&M. I think that could be a fun one. So maybe look for an upset there. But yeah, I think we get Bethune-Cookman and Southern in the final here. All right, and then now my 2 picks for the 2 conference title games we have today. First in the Sun Belt at 7 Eastern, the Troy Trojans 21-11 on the year. The 1 seed in the tournament host Georgia Southern, who's 21-15. The 10 seed Georgia Southern's gone on a run where they've now won 5 games in 5 straight days. I love it. Everyone talks about how great the Sun Belt is because it's this is so fair. Like we're gonna get the top teams, and then a team goes and wins 5 games in 5 days, and beats a Marshall team that was the 2 seed, beats Coastal Carolina's 3 seed, like beats all these top teams. So Georgia Southern been playing some really good ball here as of late. But Troy's been the 1 seed in this conference here all year. Looking here at the metrics, Troy's 156th offensive efficiency, 161st defense to Georgia Southern's 147th offense, 305th defense. Georgia Southern shoots 44% from the field and 34% from 3 to 43% from the field and 32% from 3 for Troy. For this one, it's going to be a contrasting pace. Georgia Southern's 55th in the country in pace to Troy's 302nd. So guys like Moore and Applewhite for Georgia Southern, they're really going to look to speed this game up, get the ball inside, score at all levels, play quick. Where Troy, like I said, they're going to want to slow it down. They're the better team, which that's where I really think it, kind of plays into their favor here. When you're the better team, when you have the capability of slowing the game down, like I think Troy does in this one. Looking here at the projections in this one, it has Troy winning 78-73, and that's probably around the score I like. Both these teams score around 80 points per game, allow, in the 70s. So I think we're probably looking at high 70s, low 80s here for the score, and I think Troy wins. They've been the class of the Sun Belt all year. As hot as Georgia Southern is, I think this is kind of where that miracle run ends, especially, playing a team that's now had a game. They've now are just playing their second game in 2 days, opposed to their 6th game in 6, where, Marshall, it's a little bit of they're sitting around, like I said, didn't think they were playing good ball before, so that's why I thought Georgia Southern was capable of knocking them off, but Troy, I think, is just going to be another level, so give me the Trojans to win the Sun Belt title. Then moving on here, the SoCon, also at 7 Eastern, this one's on ESPN. The Furman Paladins, 21-12 in the SoCon, or 21-12 on the year, 10-8 in the SoCon, head to the East Tennessee State Buccaneers for 23-10. 13-5 in the SoCon. So we got the 1 seed going up against the 5 seed in this one in the final here. Or that might be wrong. I think they're the 6 seed. Where, you know, Furman here, they've knocked off UNC Greensboro and Samford in the tournament. East Tennessee, they've knocked off the Citadel and Western Carolina. Both those games, or well, the Citadel pretty handily. Western Carolina was a bit of a close one. Had to, you know, get it done late there. And same thing, the Furman UNC Greensboro game was a good one as well there yesterday. So looking here at the metrics, East Tennessee State, 159th offense efficiency, 130th defense to Furman's 228th offense, 199th defense. Both these teams play pretty slow here in the 250s, 270s in pace. Looking here at the projection, it has East Tennessee State winning 71-47. The Buccaneers are my team that I had winning this tournament coming into it, so I'm still going to stick with that. Give me East Tennessee to get the win there. And then just looking here at the rest of the games, like I said, pretty slow slate here on Monday. We got the semifinals in the WCC with Gonzaga, Oregon State, and St. Mary, Santa Clara. Those should be some good ones. We got semifinals in the CAA of Hofstra, Towson, as well as then Campbell and Monmouth. We got Southland with A&M Corpus Christi taking on New Orleans. The other game there is UT Rio Grande Valley Nichols. So that's the quarterfinals there. We got the semifinals in the Horizon. Robert Morris checked to win against Detroit Mercy. The Colonials are my pick to win the Horizon there. And then the other game in that one we have is Wright State, the 1 seed, taking on Northern Kentucky. That one's projected to be a close one. So those ones are on ESPN2 and ESPNU. So a lot of good conference tournament games here on Monday. Like I said, we'll get more into the power conferences that start on Tuesday. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys once again so much for watching, especially if you're still watching at this point here late in the video. So make sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to comment your picks for these games for, you know, your takeaways from this weekend. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.